today we announced TMR, which is a media planning tool that includes social media alongside television, magazine, radio, all the other traditional media. So it's kind of a big breakthrough. There was a big story in Ad Age on Friday about the new product and the announcement we made today. Well, at the end of the day, we work with chief marketing officers of big brands who are spending a lot of money in marketing. And they want to invest more in digital. They want to invest more in social. And some of them will spend a certain amount on innovation to try something new. Most of the case studies that we heard today and we'll hear tomorrow are those kind of on the edge innovations. But there's a big gap between spending a little bit on innovation and actually making it an ongoing commitment in a large way to the degree that we think that they should be spending in this area. And what you need to be able to cross that gap is a bridge, a planning tool that shows you that you're going to get a better return on investment in the long run for your company, achieving its marketing objectives, spending in these areas. And so our software and tools have taken billions of dollars of marketing campaigns we've measured for these marketing brands and put them into the tool so that you can quantify what kind of impact will you get from a conversational media or a social media marketing program, and how does that compare to other digital media and marketing programs or even other traditional marketing programs. Yeah, so we invented the cross-media measurement space about a decade ago, and we measure television, magazine, out-of-home, radio, mobile, and digital was a big reason why we created the new cross-media measurement. We had invented the measurement for television or for online display advertising, online video, and social media was something we began to measure about 4.5 years ago. And what was clear to us is that the dynamics of social media work differently than traditional media. It's really more about a conversation. It's really about amplifying and sharing and passing along. And so we had to completely rethink a lot of the ways we were going to do that type of measurement and build that into a tool. And that's really the challenge, is that you've got to be able to show marketers that they need to open their minds to think a bit differently about marketing to their consumers and the relationship with consumers. Well, you got to actually start off with what are the metrics that the marketer is trying to achieve in the long run that define their success, and then say, how do we get the metrics that automatically come out of social media to work into the context of what the marketer is trying to achieve. So what most marketers are trying to achieve is they might be trying to launch a new brand and build a lot of awareness. They might be trying to reposition a brand and change the way that you think about a company. Chrysler's campaigns certainly have been true in that vein. Or they might be trying to drive purchase consideration or an immediate sale. So as you begin to look at those different objectives, you can see pretty quickly that there is no social media metric that automatically gives you those answers. And so what you've got to do is to draw the connection between how does liking a brand or passing along and sharing that information, how does that end up changing people's awareness or positive brand perceptions or even purchase of a product. And so what we do is a lot of surveys and a lot of sales measurement, and we combine with some of that social media data to say, are there certain activities that predict changes in somebody's behavior? And if I follow up with you and do a survey right now and see how interested you are in buying that new car, and then I follow up with you 6 months later and I watch how you engaged or did not engage with that brand and see if you were more likely to convert to buying that car than somebody who had a different social media relationship, I can begin to pinpoint in time what the value of that relationship is. Well, we've been beta testing it for the last year with RPA, the agency for Honda and many other brands, and a few other companies. So yeah, we wanted to go very carefully from the beta to the actual public launch. And one of the things that we found was that in the companies that were beta testing it was that once they really began to get used to using this as a core basic tool, you couldn't take it away from them. It becomes an integrated way that they think every day as they look at the marketing spending. Initially, we weren't expecting that. We were expecting them to just do what they do currently in traditional media, where they use it once a year as a part of their planning process and then kind of put it away until next year. What we're seeing is a shift to a much more real-world kind of mentality, and these tools help that real world kind of rationalize and make sense out of where the ROI is going to come from. Well, I think some of the biggest surprises is how underspent many of them are in social media. Many of them think that they're doing a lot in social media. They're like, we've got Facebook, we've got LinkedIn, we're getting liked by a lot of people, we're engaged. And then you look at it and you're like, you know what, you're just scratching the surface. You're at the tip of the iceberg, and there's so much more that you can do in a comprehensive way, and you really should be spending more on these kind of programs. The other one is the aha moment is how interconnected some of these things are. When you run a television campaign that's well designed to work with search and well designed to work with social, what you see is a synergy and what we call surround sound marketing, where they all work together and reinforce one another. And those are very important insights, because what we're finding is that that's not how marketers are organized today. Digital is oftentimes a separate group than some of the traditional media, and getting them to talk together and to coordinate and work together is going to be a really important part of how big brands grow faster than their competition. Those brands that break the silos and get the integration working will beat the brands that are siloed and not coordinating the different efforts. Well, I think there's a little bit of a disconnect between the way in which advertising in social media amplifies the pass along and how that relationship works. Some brands get it, but a lot of them really begin to say, well, we've got people that we're paying on staff to, keep our Facebook page going, and we're creating our own content. That's good that they're creating their own content. It's great that they're blogging and on Twitter and so forth. But what we find is that when you use advertising in Twitter or Facebook or other social programs to really amplify the message, you're creating a bigger value for a couple reasons. First is somebody who isn't engaged with the brand becomes a little bit more aware of the brand through the advertising. Then when they see one of their friends liking the brand or sharing that brand or retweeting the brand, that actually, they're actually primed to pay more attention to that brand. And so that has a larger effect. And in fact, they're a little bit more likely to engage with that brand downstream. So this advertising and paid social media interaction, how those work together, is something that I think is, to your question, a little bit misunderstood, in that when you begin to use tools like this, you begin to get it and you begin to use it in a more effective way. Engaging your whole community is a very important way of getting that information out there. But really the pass-along effect that you get from having many consumers engage with your brand in an equal footing is, there's really no substitute for that. You combine that with a strong advertising campaign running in parallel that reinforces the same message, and you've got a winner.